He has made an urgent appeal for $140 million in food aid for more than 5 million Zimbabweans facing severe hunger. The World Food Programme, the WFP, says the new funding will help avert a crisis as most Zimbabweans have already run out of food or are just surviving on one meal a day. The Southern African nation is facing a worsening economic crisis, most visible in the inflation of about 231 million% and chronic shortages of food, electricity, water, and lately, banknotes. Now, the World Food Programme spokesperson, Richard Lee, accompanied workers handing out dried corn, vegetable oil, and other aid to central Zimbabwe, and he now joins us in the studio. It's a very good morning to you, Richard, and welcome to 180 Degrees.
Good morning.
Now, what was the situation on the ground in the areas that you recently visited in Zimbabwe?
The situation on the ground where I was in Midlands province in Zimbabwe South, is very, very serious. All the people I was speaking to were talking about the fact that their families were cutting back on meals. Most of them were surviving on one meal a day, one meal of maize and perhaps some vegetables a day. They were talking about exchanging a goat, if they had any left, for just 5 kilograms of maize. They were that desperate for just 5 kilograms to lose a goat. People were sending their children out to look for wild foods. And the older people I was speaking to, they were saying, you know, we're remembering, this is the hardest year we can remember. This is the hungriest year we can remember. And what we've got to remember is we're still 6 months away from the next harvest. So the situation is unfortunately only going to get worse.
So are you distributing the food aid then to specific parts that are most affected, or is it, you know, just broadly in all the rural areas of the country?
What we're doing is we're starting in the worst affected areas. So we're getting to the people who've already run out of food or are just scraping by on one meal a day. But then as the months go on, we're going to expand our operations. We're going to scale them up from around about 1.8 million now to over 4 million at the beginning of next year. And by that stage, us and our partners will be working in all 51 districts, because there are people affected across Zimbabwe. So we're in the worst affected districts now, but then we're going to expand our operations and we're going to be reaching millions of people as the months go on.
And as the situation becomes even more desperate, are you looking at a situation rather where you may be increasing the amount of food aid that you are giving to a particular family, and what are the amounts at the moment?
What we do is we provide a family ration. So when we register the beneficiaries, when we decide along with the communities and our NGO partners that this family is desperately in need, is very hungry, doesn't have the resources to feed themselves, we provide them with a family ration. So we see how many people there are in the family, be it 6, 7, 8, 10, and then we give them maize, beans, vegetable oil, and we give each person a ration for the month. So then they end up getting a big family ration at the end of it. We're unlikely to increase the amount of food because the food we give out is enough to keep people healthy for a month. But we might have to increase the numbers of people, because if the situation gets even worse, then we might have to do that. But at the moment, we're sticking to our original plan, and we're confident we can do that. We're confident we can avert a disaster in Zimbabwe, but we do need resources. As you said in your introduction, we need another $140 million, which is a lot of money, particularly given the current financial crisis around the world.
We'll talk about that a little later, but I wanted to find out, this is the start of you know, the new agricultural season, and what are people there doing, you know, to prepare for this for this year's season?
Well, I must admit, on the drive from Harare out to Zimbabwe South, it took us about 5 hours, it was 400 and something kilometers. I didn't see much preparation underway, unfortunately. And talking to people, there seems to be a widespread concern about lack of seeds and fertilizer again. Now, this was had a big impact on the harvests this year and last year, both of which were very poor harvests. And if these concerns are true, if it is true that there isn't enough seeds and fertilizer out there again, then unfortunately we're looking at another poor harvest in 2009. But certainly looking at the ground, looking at people's fields, I didn't see much work being done in this particular area of Zimbabwe.
So could